The story opens on a remote, sun-drenched ranch at the edge of a frontier town. Dust swirls across the dry earth, and the fading orange light of sunset casts long, trembling shadows over the wooden fences and sparse outbuildings. The ranch, usually a place of solitude and routine, is about to become the stage for an extraordinary encounter. Jack, a rugged and practical rancher accustomed to the quiet rhythm of his life, is tending to the evening chores, feeding the horses, repairing fences, and checking the livestock when an unexpected visitor approaches. Clara, a young woman of determined yet anxious demeanor, appears at the edge of the property. She carries a heavy, oddly shaped sack, and her steps are hurried, almost desperate. Her appearance is disheveled, and her eyes are wide with a mixture of fear and urgency. She calls out to Jack, her voice trembling, "Please, take them off." Her words are cryptic, immediately sparking confusion in Jack. The request is strange and unsettling. There's no context, no explanation. The phrase itself carries weight, suggesting both a literal action and perhaps a metaphorical plea. Jack is naturally cautious. He has dealt with unpredictable people before, but Clara's fear is palpable and unlike anything he has encountered. He instinctively senses that there is more to the situation than meets the eye. Hesitant yet compelled, he approaches her, his hands brushing against the worn leather of his coat. The sack Clara holds is heavy, and it shifts slightly as if something inside is alive, or at least restless. The unusual weight and movement add tension and suspense, signaling that whatever is contained within is extraordinary or potentially dangerous. Clara's demeanor communicates both desperation and secrecy. She is entrusting Jack with something of immense importance, yet she remains deliberately vague, hinting at a story that is only partially revealed. This interaction establishes the initial conflict. Jack must decide whether to trust a stranger with a mysterious burden, while Clara must rely on someone she barely knows. The scene is charged with tension, curiosity, and the anticipation of the unknown. As Jack takes the sack in his hands, the narrative sets up a central mystery. The audience, like Jack, feels the weight, both literal and figurative, of what lies within, creating an irresistible urge to uncover the secret. Part 1 effectively establishes the story's suspense, introduces the main characters, and sets the tone for the unfolding drama that will drive the plot forward. Part 2 plunges the story into its first major turning point, the shocking revelation contained within the mysterious sack. Jack, still bewildered by Clara's urgent plea, finally succumbs to curiosity and carefully opens the heavy, restless bundle. The tension is almost unbearable. The sack shifts slightly, as if anticipating exposure, and the dim light of sunset glints off something unexpected inside. Jack's eyes widen in disbelief, and the narrative deliberately withholds the full nature of the contents at first, heightening suspense. The story creates a moment of shared panic between Jack and Clara, whose fear is both protective and desperate. The contents of the sack are far beyond ordinary expectations. They are not objects, livestock, or mundane items. Instead, they carry a strange, almost supernatural quality that shocks Jack to his core. Perhaps they are living creatures, artifacts of unknown origin, or something that defies the natural world. The key here is that Jack, a man grounded in practicality and accustomed to the roughness of frontier life, is confronted with something completely beyond his experience. This moment forces him to confront disbelief and fear, shaking the very foundation of his understanding of the world. Clara's presence and reaction deepen the tension. She is desperate, pleading silently for Jack to comprehend the significance of what lies before him. Her fear is not merely for herself, but for the entity or items within the sack, suggesting that they are fragile, powerful, or dangerous. She hints, through her eyes and brief words, at a story she cannot fully reveal, perhaps because of danger, secrecy, or distrust. This dynamic establishes a strong emotional connection between the two characters. Jack must choose whether to believe and protect her, while Clara must trust a stranger with a secret of monumental importance. The shock extends beyond the immediate revelation. The story hints that the contents of the sack may have far-reaching consequences, potentially threatening their safety, altering their lives, or even changing the course of events in the surrounding town. The narrative uses sensory details, the weight of the sack, its unexpected movement, faint sounds, or an unexplainable glow, to create a sense of otherworldliness and urgency. Part 2 is crucial because it transforms a simple encounter into a high-stakes situation. It escalates suspense, defines the stakes, and establishes the central conflict. Jack and Clara must navigate the unknown, balancing fear, curiosity, and moral responsibility. This shock sets the tone for the ensuing adventure, forcing both characters to react, adapt, and reveal deeper aspects of themselves. In Part 3, the story's tension intensifies as external dangers begin to emerge, turning the mystery of the sack into a full-fledged threat. After the shocking revelation in Part 2, Jack and Clara are no longer in a safe, quiet ranch. They are now targets. The narrative reveals that they are being watched or pursued by forces with a vested interest in the sack's contents. This could take the form of a ruthless outlaw, a corrupt official, or even a secretive organization, any antagonist capable of presenting immediate danger while adding a layer of intrigue to the plot. The story emphasizes that whatever is inside the sack is not just unusual, but valuable or dangerous enough to provoke relentless pursuit. The stakes are raised both externally and internally. Jack, previously confident in his ability to handle the ordinary challenges of ranch life, realizes that the rules of his world no longer apply. Every creaking floorboard, rustle in the bushes, and shadow in the distance becomes a potential threat. The ranch, once a sanctuary, now feels like a trap. Clara, while clearly terrified, demonstrates resourcefulness and knowledge that hints at her deeper connection to the mysterious contents. Her urgency becomes more understandable, and her guarded demeanor adds layers to her character. At the same time, Part 3 explores internal conflict. Jack must decide how much he can trust Clara. She is clearly hiding key information, and her secrecy adds tension between the characters. Jack's practical nature clashes with the bizarre reality of the situation, forcing him to make difficult choices. Should he follow her lead blindly, or rely on his instincts and experience? Clara, on the other hand, struggles with the need to protect both Jack and the mysterious contents while revealing just enough to keep him engaged and cooperative. The story also uses suspenseful foreshadowing in this section. The contents of the sack begin exhibiting subtle signs of unusual power or behavior, perhaps moving on their own, emitting faint noises, or affecting the environment in uncanny ways. These small hints signal that the threat is not only external, but intertwined with the sack itself. The narrative maintains a sense of uncertainty. The danger is both immediate and unpredictable, forcing Jack and Clara into a constant state of alertness. Part 3 is pivotal because it moves the story from simple mystery into high-stakes adventure. The characters' decisions, trust, and resourcefulness are tested for the first time under pressure. The tension between fear, moral responsibility, and survival drives the narrative forward, ensuring that the audience is invested in both the characters and the mysterious contents of the sack. By the end of this part, the duo realizes that escape, protection, and understanding are all intertwined, setting the stage for the journey ahead. Part 4 marks the transition from tension and threat to action, as Jack and Clara decide that staying at the ranch is too dangerous. The story shifts into a journey, both literal and metaphorical, as the characters leave the safety of familiar surroundings to protect the mysterious contents of the sack. The landscape itself mirrors their predicament. Rough terrain, winding trails, and unpredictable weather make every step forward a challenge, emphasizing the stakes and the physical and emotional effort required to survive. Clara takes the lead, guiding Jack through this treacherous territory. Her knowledge of hidden paths, safe hideouts, or secret routes reveals a deeper side to her character. She is not merely a frightened woman, but someone with resourcefulness, courage, and a connection to the mystery she carries. Jack, though initially hesitant, begins to rely on her instincts and experience. Their dynamic evolves here. He provides strength, pragmatism, and protection, while she provides insight, agility, and intuition. This balance fosters mutual respect and gradually builds trust between the two, strengthening the emotional core of the story. The journey also allows for exposition and foreshadowing. As they travel, small hints about the nature of the sack's contents are revealed, subtle movements, faint glimmers, or unusual reactions to the environment. These details remind both the characters and the audience that the items are not ordinary, heightening suspense while keeping the mystery alive. Conversations between Jack and Clara begin to reveal pieces of her backstory, though much remains hidden, maintaining intrigue and deepening the audience's investment in their relationship. Conflict is never far behind. The external threat remains present, whether in the form of distant trackers, environmental hazards, or unpredictable circumstances. Each obstacle underscores the urgency of their mission and tests their ability to adapt under pressure. Their journey becomes a crucible, forging a bond that is both pragmatic, based on survival, and emotional, rooted in shared fear, trust, and determination. Part 4 is pivotal because it moves the narrative from a static suspense scenario into a dynamic, forward-moving adventure. The stakes are clarified. Escape, protection, and understanding are now intertwined objectives. By the end of this part, the audience is fully immersed in the tension, aware of the danger surrounding the protagonists, and invested in the evolution of Jack and Clara's relationship, which will be crucial for the challenges ahead. Their journey sets the stage for the story's escalation, where confrontation and revelation become inevitable. Part 5 escalates the story into its most intense and dramatic phase, confrontation. By this point, Jack and Clara have been tested by both the journey and the unknown nature of the sack's contents. The external threat, previously hinted at as a shadowy presence, finally arrives in full force. This antagonist could be a ruthless outlaw, a corrupt lawman, or a mysterious entity with a dangerous interest in the sack. Their appearance immediately raises the stakes, transforming the story from suspenseful pursuit into a high-tension showdown. The confrontation is both physical and psychological. Jack, the pragmatic rancher, must rely on instinct, courage, and resourcefulness to defend himself and Clara. Clara, protective of the sack and aware of its importance, must navigate fear, strategy, and moral responsibility simultaneously. The clash forces both characters to act decisively and reveals their growth from earlier parts of the story. Jack, once hesitant and unsure, demonstrates bravery and leadership. Clara, once secretive and cautious, shows trust and determination. Their teamwork becomes essential for survival. The mysterious contents of the sack play a pivotal role during the confrontation. They may display unusual properties, movement, energy, or otherworldly power that influence the outcome of the encounter. This allows the story to blend suspense, adventure, and elements of the supernatural or extraordinary. The sack's contents are no longer passive. They become a catalyst for action, providing both opportunities and new complications. This interaction heightens tension while reinforcing the central mystery, ensuring that the audience remains engaged and emotionally invested. Emotionally, the confrontation is a turning point for both characters. Clara's fears, doubts, and hidden motives come to light under pressure, deepening her characterization and humanizing her struggle. Jack faces moral dilemmas. How far will he go to protect the unknown, and what sacrifices is he willing to make? The conflict tests not just their physical abilities, but their ethical and emotional limits, enriching the narrative with depth and complexity. By the end of Part 5, the confrontation reaches its climax. The immediate threat is neutralized, whether through clever strategy, bravery, or the intervention of the sack's mysterious properties, but the experience leaves both characters changed. They now understand the gravity of their situation and the significance of the items they carry. This part bridges the story's rising action and resolution, setting the stage for the final revelations and consequences in Part 6. Part 6 serves as the story's climax and resolution, tying together the suspense, action, and emotional arcs developed throughout the previous parts. After the intense confrontation, Jack and Clara are left to deal with the aftermath, both physically and emotionally. The immediate threat from the antagonist has been neutralized, but the consequences of their journey and the revelation of the sack's contents continue to resonate. This final part allows the narrative to explore the full significance of the mysterious items and how they affect the characters' lives. The true nature of the sack's contents is finally revealed in full, providing clarity while maintaining a sense of awe or wonder. Whether the items are supernatural, magical, or symbolically powerful, their revelation reframes the story and adds depth to the earlier suspense. Jack, the practical and grounded rancher, experiences a moment of profound realization. The world is larger and stranger than he ever imagined. Clara, who carried the secret with fear and responsibility, sees her protective efforts validated, and her emotional arc reaches a point of catharsis. The resolution also addresses the evolving relationship between Jack and Clara. Through the shared trials of the journey and confrontation, they have built mutual trust, respect, and understanding. Jack has learned to embrace the unknown and rely on intuition, while Clara has learned to share her burdens and trust another person with her secrets. This emotional growth adds richness to the story, ensuring that the resolution is not just about the mystery of the sack, but also about personal transformation. In addition to character growth, Part 6 resolves the external conflicts. Any lingering threats, whether human, environmental, or supernatural, are either eliminated or neutralized, ensuring that Jack and Clara can move forward safely. The narrative may leave subtle hints that the adventure has broader implications, or that the contents of the sack could continue to influence their world, providing a sense of lingering wonder and the possibility for future stories. Finally, the story concludes with a reflection on the journey itself. The events have tested courage, morality, and resilience, and the resolution underscores the themes of trust, responsibility, and the unexpected consequences of curiosity. The sack, once a symbol of fear and mystery, now represents revelation, growth, and the enduring bond between the protagonists. By the end of Part 6, the story delivers both closure and a lingering sense of intrigue, leaving readers satisfied yet thoughtful about the extraordinary events that unfolded.